All right, thanks so much for joining us once again on The Bright Side. We've been talking about the biochemical homocysteine that builds up in the body under conditions of nutritional deficiencies. This is all under the heading of nutritional alternatives to nasty, toxic, deadly pharmaceutical drugs, nutritional alternatives to doctor's office visits and cardiologists' knives and pharmaceutical substances and standing in line at the drugstore and insurance companies. These are all nutritional alternatives, non-toxic nutritional alternatives that can reverse the disease process, all degenerative processes, including and especially cardiovascular health disease. Cardiovascular health issues, I should say. So we've been talking about homocysteine. Homocysteine is this nasty toxic chemical that builds up in the body, specifically when there are deficiencies in the B complex. I shouldn't rip on homocysteine too much. Homocysteine does have a role to play. It's important for helping the body build things. But when the levels get too high under conditions of nutritional deficiencies, that's where you can run into some problems. Homocysteine can keep blood from flowing smoothly. It can cause defects in blood vessel walls, and both of these can result in clots and sticky blood. Clots and sticky blood will lead to all kinds of health issues as blood flow to the tissues starts to slow down, and it can result in a heart that has to work too hard. It can result in strokes. It can result in heart attacks. Doctors will treat this sticky blood condition with blood-thinning drugs, Coumadin, which is also known as rat poison, Plavix, Pradaxa. These drugs are worth billions and billions of dollars to drug companies. Almost every year, Plavix is one of the top 5 best-selling prescription drugs. So clearly, there are a lot of people with sticky blood issues who are at risk for heart attacks and strokes. And now, just in case your doctor's looking for an alternative deadly poison, AstraZeneca, one of the largest drug companies in the world, has entered into this deadly blood thinner marketplace with their version of a blood thinner drug called Brilinta. What we're really talking about here, folks, when we talk about sticky blood and when we talk about blood clots, what we're really talking about are problems with inflammation and the immune system. Whether that inflammation, whether that immune breakdown is from a homocysteine issue or digestive byproducts of bacteria in the gut, whatever you're talking about when you talk about disease in general, all disease, not just blood clots, not just heart disease, all disease, folks, what we're really dealing with is a tissue that is not growing as it should. Cells that make up tissue are not growing as they should. That is what all degenerative disease is about. It's as simple as that. Cells are not growing. They're not doing what they should be doing. They're not producing the stuff they should be producing. And there's only 2 reasons why this happens. Number 1, the cell is starving of nutrients. Number 2, it's suffocating in its own waste and toxicity. And that's it, folks. All degenerative disease is the result of cells not growing as they should and not producing the stuff they should be producing as they should be producing it. And there's only 2 reasons why that happens. It's the cell's either starving or it's suffocating, period. And I'm including water and breathing as nutrients, and I'm including exhalation, carbon dioxide that's exhaled as a toxin. So that's it. If you are suffering from arthritis, if you're dealing with heart disease, if you're dealing with cardiovascular issues, if you're dealing with any degenerative disease, any autoimmune disease, there's only 2 things that are going wrong. Your cell, the cell that's involved in the disease process, is starving of nutrients. And number 2, it's suffocating in its own waste and toxicity, and you can call it cancer, and you can call it heart disease, and you can call it Alzheimer's disease, you can call it MS, you can call it whatever the heck you want to call it, but at its core, it's happening because cells are starving and suffocating, and that is good news. That should be good news because it means that we can begin to address almost any degenerative condition. The doctor model, the medical model, does nothing but confuse and obfuscate and make people give up. The bright side philosophy is there's just 2 things you need to deal with, and that is the starvation condition of cells and the toxic waste that these cells are sitting in. That means we can begin to address any kind of degenerative condition, not because of magic, not because of miracles, but because it is in the nature of the body to heal and renew and turn over. Its nature is out with the old and in with the new. It's always turning over. Cells are always turning over. This is so important. The body is constantly removing bad cells and constantly trying to build good cells all the time, be they joint cells or skin cells or bone cells or liver cells or brain cells or heart cells, whatever it is, the body is constantly breaking down old cells, breaking down defective cells, destroying sick cells, and replacing them or attempting to replace them with new healthy cells constantly every second of every day of your life. And that means all we got to do is nutriate, respirate, move the body, and rest, and it's really pretty simple. And it's really pretty logical. And it's really pretty wise. And you don't need doctors and you don't need drugs to apply its wisdom. The pharmacological medical model needs to be exposed for what it is, a wrong-headed and primitive reductionist, let's cut the body up into parts way of looking at biology that has presided over the most disastrous drop in health and wellness in the history of mankind. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. Our number is 866-582-9933. We're coming back with more good health. All right, continuing on with our discussion on the heart toxin, homocysteine. Homocysteine levels build up under conditions of nutritional deficiency, especially B vitamin deficiency, and homocysteine is one of the major risk factors for heart disease of all kinds, especially strokes and clotty blood. If you're on one of those nasty blood-thinning drugs, Brilinta, Pradaxa, Plavix, Coumadin, even aspirin, if you're on one of these drugs and you're concerned about blood clots and you don't want to get stuck using drugs forever and you don't want to be stuck going to the doctor every few months to have your blood tested, the first thing you want to do, this is the number one thing to do if you're on a blood thinner drug, if you're concerned about blood clots or strokes, the first thing you want to do is correct digestive issues. I can't emphasize this enough. I cannot stress the importance of this enough. It is absolutely vital for cardiovascular health, for all health, but specifically for heart health, to correct digestive issues. If you're on any of these drugs, please understand that correcting digestive issues is the single most important nutritional strategy that you can use. Correcting digestive issues, number one, means eliminating problem foods. According to Dr. James Privatera, who wrote the book Silent Clots, a book I highly recommend for people who are dealing with sticky blood or blood clot issues or strokes or heart disease of any kind. According to Dr. Privatera, blood clotting diseases are rare in cultures where food is eaten whole and unrefined. Inflammatory factors secondary to problems with the digestive system, food intolerances, digestive problems of all kinds, inflammatory factors that are secondary to these digestive problems are one of the main reasons why blood gets sticky and clogged up. So first thing you want to do, if you're trying to get off warfarin, if you're trying to get off Plavix or Pradaxa, if you're worried about blood clots, the first thing you want to do is eliminate problem foods. The big five problem foods are dairy, grains of all kinds, not just the ones with gluten, grains of all kinds, peanuts, eggs, and soy, but it's not limited to those five. You have to go by your symptoms. Eat a food, how do you feel? If you have a problem, constipation, diarrhea, loose stools, burping, cramping, heartburn, whatever, that's a food that you want to probably at least think about eliminating. The second thing you could do is make sure that you're taking probiotics, good bacteria, and make sure that you're getting on digestive enzymes. We were talking yesterday about how digestive enzymes are not just important for the digestive system. Digestive enzymes also have a blood thinning effect. So, first thing, eliminate problem foods. Second thing, get yourself on probiotics, 80 to 100 billion units a day, multiple strains, and get yourself on the ultimate enzymes from Youngevity. The ultimate enzymes and all digestive enzymes are not only helpful for digestion, they can also have a blood thinning effect. And then there's the water strategy. Simply drinking more water is a wonderful way to thin the blood. You always want to be looking for non-toxic, non-pharmacological strategies first. The father of medicine, Hippocrates, is famous for saying, first do no harm. Every doctor that puts somebody on a prescription drug without exploring nutritional and non-toxic alternatives is in violation of the Hippocratic Oath, which says, first do no harm. Drinking water is one of the most unbelievably non-toxic and effective strategies you can use for all health conditions, but especially for thinning the blood. And this, by the way, is especially important when you wake up in the morning. First thing in the morning, drink 2 tall glasses of water, and you'll find that you have more energy. If you're dealing with blood clot issues, overnight, the dehydration that occurs over 6 to 8 hours of sleep without drinking water can exacerbate blood stickiness. So your blood, if you're already prone towards blood clots, even if you're not, but if you're already prone towards sticky clotted blood, when you wake up in the morning, your blood is going to be stickier and more clotted. So drink water first thing in the morning. Get yourself 2 tall glasses of water. Omega-3 essential fatty acids also have blood-thinning properties. Vitamin E also has blood-thinning properties. So make sure that you're getting enough EFAs, especially omega-3s. Make sure that you're getting enough vitamin E. If you're eating a lot of processed fats and you're not getting enough essential fatty acids, cell membranes can become dysfunctional. Red blood cell membranes can become out of shape, and that's a great way to get your blood to clot inappropriately. Make sure you're getting at least a couple tablespoons of flaxseed oil a day, maybe a tablespoon or so of fish oil a day, and please make sure you're getting 400 international units of vitamin E in the mixed tocopherol or the mixed tocotrienol format. Eating more good fat can help you stay away from the chips and fries and processed hydrogenated trans fats, and that's always a problem for all health issues, but especially for blood clot issues. And then there's the B vitamin strategy. The B vitamins can help lower blood clotting homocysteine, and if you were listening yesterday, you probably are aware that the B vitamins are found everywhere there is life, which in terms of foods means live foods. The closer a food is to being alive, the more B vitamins it's going to contain. Of course, this is true about all nutrients. The concentrations of vitamins and minerals and plant nutrients and protein and essential fatty acids and enzymes in all foods depends on the freshness of foods. However, there is no nutrient that is more dependent on freshness than the B complex. Up to 80% of the B vitamins can be lost when foods are canned or when they're cooked. The B vitamins should be the easiest vitamins to obtain of all because they're everywhere. They're found everywhere. Nothing says poor lifestyle choices, poor food choices, poor dietary choices more than B vitamin deficiency. How human beings can be deficient in what is very well the most common vitamin compound in all of biology is a testimony to how far humanity has come from the lifestyle that the human body is supposed to be leading. It should be almost impossible to have a deficiency in these substances if you're eating fresh foods. And as far as supplements go, the B complex are super, super cheap. You can get plenty of supplemental B complex for literally a nickel a day. The B vitamins are the quintessential vitamins of life, and they're found in anything that's alive. When you pick a fruit or a vegetable or you slaughter an animal or a chicken, that life force begins to dissipate, and as it does, the B vitamins leave with it. That's why getting most of our calories from processed dead foods is a pretty darn good way to make sure you'll be depriving yourself of the B vitamins and running higher risks for all kinds of degenerative diseases, including heart disease. All right, we're going to take a break. I am Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll come back with your phone calls at 866-582-9933. Don't go away. We got more good health information coming at you. All right, welcome back to The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben. Thanks for joining us, friends. Got a letter from Mark. He says he's a 43-year-old male, 210 pounds with classic metabolic syndrome, prediabetes, obstructive sleep apnea, heart pre-ventricle contractions, PVCs. I also get eczema on my hands. I've had IBS, he says, since he was 8 years old, and it flares up with stress. I love the term metabolic syndrome, by the way. Metabolic syndrome is a term that was coined by I believe he was a cardiologist, a physician anyway, in California, Dr. Gerald Reaven. He coined the term metabolic syndrome. He was trying to describe something that he had seen that involved a syndrome, a complex of different symptoms that involved blood pressure problems and weight gain problems and cardiovascular disease and skin problems and adrenal and thyroid problems. He called it metabolic syndrome because it seemed to incorporate everything in the body. Metabolism is the sum total of biochemical reactions that happen in the body. So metabolic syndrome, if you've heard of the term, simply means everything is going wrong. It's basically a disease state that means your whole body is falling apart. And guess what causes metabolic syndrome? Diabetes, the number one cause of metabolic syndrome, and the main cause of diabetes is digestive problems. So once again, you got your whole triangle of disease issue. Digestive issues, blood sugar issues, adrenal thyroid issues, and then the entire body falls apart. You can call it metabolic syndrome, but you can basically think of it as your entire body is falling apart. So Mark is dealing with metabolic syndrome issues. First thing you want to do, Mark, is you want to make sure that you're dealing with your digestive issues. IBS, since you are 8 years old and flaring up under stress, means that you still do not have your digestive system under control. The eczema on your hands is also a sign that there's probably digestive problems. There's probably issues around fat absorption or fat intake. It could be you're either not absorbing your fatty vitamins or not absorbing your essential fatty acids, or not taking your essential fatty acids. Folks, I've said it before. I've said it many times before. Eczema is super, super easy to treat. Eczema is a classic manifestation of an immune condition secondary to a digestive problem. Cells are not growing fast enough. But the way you want to look at eczema is like it's a good thing, because it's telling you there's something going on in the body, and as soon as you correct that, you'll notice your eczema disappears. It's like the canary in the coal mine. It's like a signaling system. Eczema is not the enemy. It's a signal that something's going on in the body. So for Mark, who's dealing with prediabetes, sleep apnea, heart problems, eczema, IBS, that tells me that Mark is not controlling his basic issues, which probably involve poor food choices and nutritional supplementation. But here's the really interesting thing about Mark's letter. Mark says that he got himself on whey protein. You heard us talking on the radio program about whey. He says he really needs to shut down his sweet cravings. And reading from his letter, quote, "I tried an unflavored whey protein from Now Foods. They make a good product. It did the job with my sweet tooth, as it should." And then he says, "I was disappointed to note that one scoop of the product in water raised my blood sugar 30 units higher than normal. Glad I was testing and reproduced the results on a second try. What can I do to use whey protein to curb my sugar cravings without a blood glucose spike? Is the high glucose spike due to glycation of the branched chain amino acids? What would you recommend? Try egg powder or another whey product." Well, here's the deal. The body can only handle so much protein, and it will handle that protein effectively if it needs the amino acids, if it needs the building blocks of that protein. That means if you're working out, if you're exercising, if you're building muscle, if you're doing something that requires protein, your body will use up that protein. Now, some of it will get stored, but unfortunately, if your body doesn't need the amount of protein that you're getting, what will end up happening, especially with these things that are called the branched chain amino acids, which are super important for building muscle, if you're taking a lot of these BCAAs, these branched chain amino acids, or a lot of protein, and whey protein is a good source of the branched chain amino acids, if you're taking a lot of these things but you're not using them, the body will turn it into sugar. And yes, your blood sugar will go up. Unfortunately, after that, the blood sugar will get turned into fat. So eating more protein, or eating high amounts of protein without your body needing that protein, if you're not working out, if you're not exercising, if you're not growing, if you're not recovering from something, that whey protein will raise your blood sugar. Yes, it will get turned into fat as well. So here's what you need to do. You still want to be on the whey, and the experience in the reduction in sugar cravings is very helpful. You don't want to lose that. So a couple things that you want to do, Mark. Number one, reduce your dose of the whey protein. I'm not sure how much you're taking here. Let's see, it says 1 scoop of the product. Try half a scoop. Try a quarter scoop 4 times a day instead of 1 scoop once a day. Try to do your whey protein after you come home from a workout, after you come home from the gym. If you're not working out, get yourself on a workout program, and not just a walk around the block and not just a bike ride. Get yourself on a workout program that's requiring muscle building, that's going to force your body to build muscle. Go to the gym for a little bit. Do some push-ups for a little bit. Get yourself a pair of dumbbells and do some curls. And kinds of workouts, move your body real slowly. It'll put more stress on the muscle, and it will require more protein synthesis for repair. You'll get better use out of that whey protein. That's a really interesting point that we don't talk about a lot. If you're taking in high amounts of protein, especially building proteins like whey protein, and you're not building and you're not using that protein, you can have a spike, an increase in blood sugar, and that can ultimately put weight on you that you don't want to put on. So take your whey protein, take smaller doses of whey protein, and take your whey protein after meals, after you come home from the gym, after you do some kind of workout, after you do some kind of muscle building workout specifically. Thanks for writing, Mark. I know you had a bunch more questions, and if you're listening, I will be giving you a call in the next couple days and we'll chat. Okay, our number is 866-582-9933. We do have a couple lines open. Let's take our first phone call. Hardy in Mississippi, what's up?
Yeah, thanks for taking my call.
Hey, Hardy.
Hey, how you doing? Listen, what can you do for gray hair? I'm trying to get it back black like I used to. Well, get it back.
Well, the first thing you do with gray hair is you don't call it gray. It's silver, and it's very distinguished, Hardy. So don't call it gray. And anybody out there who has a loved one or a friend with hair that is silver, please call it platinum or silver. Don't call it gray. That's the first thing. It's all in the framing, Hardy. Secondly, gray hair refers to the death of pigment-making cells, melanocytes they're called, that live in the scalp. And you're not going to be able to reverse those, although I have heard some people say that they took copper and they had a reversal in gray hair. I remain skeptical and suspicious of anybody who tells you that they take a nutritional supplement and their gray hair goes away. As I say, gray hair involves the death of pigment-making cells. And I don't have an answer for you on that one. What we're really dealing with, Hardy, and for our listeners, is not so much making yourself look young again. It's reversing degeneration and breakdown. Once the pigment-making cells in the scalp are gone, they're pretty much gone. Although, in fairness, I have heard people say that using copper supplements has restored the color of their hair. I suppose you could try that. You don't want to take too much copper. 2 to 4 milligrams of copper a day is a good place to be. Always balance your copper out with zinc. Zinc and copper have an antagonistic relationship, as we spoke about many times in the program. The best form of copper, by the way, or one of the best forms of copper, is chelated copper as copper glycinate, Glycinate, or if you can find copper aspartate, Aspartate. And don't take more than 4 milligrams or so of copper a day. And as I say, balance that off with 50 milligrams a day of zinc. Thanks so much for calling, Hardy in Mississippi. If you're on hold, hang tight. We'll try to get to all our calls. 866-582-9933 is our number. You are listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network. I'm Pharmacist Ben, and we're coming back right after this. Okay, back to the phones we go. Robert in Idaho, what's going on?
Hi, Ben. The good Andy Anderson said to give you a call. I'm a retired veterinarian. The question is, do you have any suggestions or recommendations regarding the sleep deprivation associated with chronic fatigue syndrome?
Yes, here's my recommendation. Go to bed. No, I'm just kidding. Here's what you need to do. Number one, there's some incredible nutrients that can be helpful for relaxation. Melatonin is stupendously important. In fact, melatonin, given its benefit to toxicity ratio and its cheap price, melatonin is one of the most important supplements you could ever take. Take it before bed. It'll help you with dreams. It's very important for pineal gland health. The pineal gland is a very important little gland, I'm sure you know this, doctor, in the head that is responsible for melatonin and serotonin balance. I take personally 9 milligrams of melatonin before I go to bed, but certainly you can take 3 milligrams of melatonin before you go to bed. That can be very helpful. Secondly, if you have any cortisol issues, if you're dealing with hypercortisol, you want to work on the adrenal glands, stabilizing cortisol, and there's some great nutritional supplements for that. One of the most important is the entire B complex, but especially vitamin B5, pantothenic acid. Consider taking 1,000 to maybe 2,000 milligrams, 1 to 2 grams of pantothenic acid a day, but make sure you're taking it with the entire B complex. You never want to take one B vitamin without taking the entire complex. Magnesium is also very important for the adrenal glands, and it's got some tremendous relaxation effects. I'd be taking maybe 1,000 milligrams of magnesium before I went to bed if I were you, or whoever's dealing with the sleep deprivation issues. And then 5-HTP can also be very helpful. 5-HTP is involved with serotonin balance as well. It's a precursor to serotonin. You take 100 to 200 milligrams of a 5-HTP before you go to bed. That's another strategy for you. There's an interesting nutritional supplement called theanine. It's a kind of amino acid, a non-protein amino acid. Theanine, THEANINE. N-I-N-E. It's found in green tea, so you can drink decaffeinated, of course, green tea, and you can get some theanine. But you can also supplement with a couple hundred milligrams of theanine before you go to bed. And then there's also a really interesting nutritional supplement called GABA, G-A-B-A. It's actually a neurotransmitter-like substance, and you can take 100 to 500 milligrams of GABA before you go to bed. Some people get benefits from using lecithin before they go to bed, and again, this is because of lecithin's fat-absorbing, fat-dissolving, fat utilization properties. Helps your body utilize fat. It also has some adrenal gland stabilizing effects. Maybe a teaspoon of lecithin a couple hours before you go to bed. That might be something that you want to try. Let's see what else. A little bit of protein before you go to bed. That can help if you have a problem where you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't go back to sleep. Eating some protein, some whey protein perhaps, or some kind of powdered protein before you go to bed, small dose, that can help keep you from waking up in the middle of the night. Sometimes if you run into low blood sugar issues in the middle of the night, especially if you're already predisposed towards hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, you can end up getting a surge of cortisol as your body goes into that hypoglycemic low blood sugar state in the middle of the night. That'll make you wake up, and it'll take a couple hours for you to go back to sleep. You can avoid that by getting in some protein before you go to bed. Those are all neat strategies. One of my favorite strategies, though, for helping people fall asleep, for helping myself fall asleep, is slow, deep breathing techniques. And when you're doing your slow, deep breathing techniques, make sure you're watching your inhalation and your exhalation. You're paying attention to your inhalation and exhalation, and you'll get the most relaxing benefits out of your breathing techniques if you're actually paying attention to how your chest rises and falls as you breathe in and out. Okay, Doc, thanks so much for calling from Idaho. Appreciate it. Moving on. Let's take Leo in Oregon. What's up, Leo? Do we have Leo? Did we lose Leo?
Hello?
Leo? Hey, Leo.
Hey, great show, man. I love the work you're doing.
Thank you.
And I almost feel guilty because it's like the best health education that's available out there for free. So,
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you. It's my service. It's not just a freebie. It's my service to the world. Everybody should, in my humble opinion, we should all find what we do best and give it out to the world, contribute it to the world, and that's what I'm doing. So it helps me as much as it helps anybody else. But thanks for that. I appreciate you noticing. Thanks, Leo. How can I help you, buddy?
Well, it's a great philosophy, and in turn, I'm passing it on to others. So I have a lot of questions, but the one I think I should ask today, because it's been at me for a while, and it's not as deeply health related as the other ones, but it does affect it. It has to do with recreational swimming in the pool.
Okay.
I mean, I go swimming, and there's one little salt pool that the gym has. They converted it to a salt pool, and it's not as cold. But sometimes I like to go do laps, and I can smell the chlorine from the parking lot.
Oh yeah. Bad stuff, man. Bad stuff.
I get in there, and I like the feeling invigorating after doing the exercise, but that smell of chlorine just stays on my skin for days. And
well, it's worse than that, Leo. Leo, it's worse than that because it's getting into your body. It goes in through your mouth. It gets in. Some of it can get in through your skin. Yeah, chlorine is really nasty stuff. It's one of the most pro-aging elements in the entire periodic table, and it's really, really, really nasty stuff. Now, if you are a swimmer and you want to do things to prevent toxicity from chlorine, there's a couple things that you might want to think about. Vitamin C is super important, and you may want to take maybe a teaspoon of vitamin C before or after you go swimming. That can help protect you from some of the negative effects of chlorine. Building up your glutathione levels is very important. Glutathione, as you may remember from, we've talked about it a lot on the program, glutathione is your body's major detoxifying substance. And by the way, that's spelled Glutathione, glutathione. It's produced in the liver, and it's the way your body is supposed to handle chlorine and radioactivity and cancer-causing substances. It's your body's main detoxifying substance, glutathione. There's a really cool book, a simple book to read. It's written for lay people, called The GSH Phenomena. The G is in girl, S is in Sam, H is in Harry. The GSH Phenomena, written by Alan Pressman, Pressman. It's a great book that talks all about glutathione. Building your glutathione is very important if you're going to be immersed in chlorine on a regular basis. Vitamin C is helpful for glutathione. The amino acid glutamine is helpful for glutathione. and then making sure that your liver is working appropriately. That's also important for glutathione, as is the mineral selenium, 200 to 400 mcg a day of selenium. As far as glutamine goes, by the way, try to get in at least 1 or 2 grams. I personally take 5 grams of glutamine a day, and that's before and after swimming. So those are some strategies that you might want to employ. As far as topically goes, get yourself some topical vitamin C and rub it all over your body, and it will help detoxify some of the topical effects that chlorine can have on the skin. And try to get that chlorine out of your hair. If you can find a active product, a cleansing product that contains alpha hydroxy acids, especially something called glycolic acid. Most of the women in the audience have probably heard of glycolic acid. But if you use a glycolic acid cleanser as a shampoo, I should say, that can help get the chlorine out of your hair. It can even get the chlorine out of your bathing suit as well. Aloe vera can help a little bit to help get the chlorine out of the hair, but glycolic acid or alpha hydroxy acids work really well. I formulated a product many years ago called Active Body Wash that's designed for the whole body, but you can actually use it as a shampoo and it'll help get chlorine out of your hair. So you're smart to be thinking about that. And by the way, Leo, it's not just swimming. It's also when you take a shower, the chlorine that comes out of the water will contact with your body, and it can have some negative effects that way as well. And I know there's some people online who sell shower filters that can eliminate the chlorine out of the shower water, and that might be something to think about too. Thanks so much for your kind words, Leo, and thanks for calling from Oregon. I know we got some more folks on the line, but I'm not going to, well, that's the music. I guess we're not going to get to anybody else. So if you're on hold, I apologize. You can call us back tomorrow. If you call first thing, we'll try to get to you first in line. 866-582-9933 is the number. Thanks so much for your calls, folks. Thanks for your letters. I am Pharmacist Ben. Stay tuned for Alex Jones next on most of these stations. Till we talk again tomorrow, have an awesome, wonderful, beautiful day, and we will talk to you later.